I used 42 skeins of yarn in the month of December. Want to see how I did it? Then stick around. Hello everyone, welcome to Creatively Crafty Me. I am Charlena, and in today's video I'm going to go through all the projects that I made in the month of December alone. I am so proud of myself for the amount of projects that I got done and the amount of yarn that I was able to get through. I deemed December stash busting month for me and said that I was going to crochet a lot of my Christmas gifts for people, and I actually got a lot of them done. And I managed to get through all these skeins of yarn straight out of my stash. Now, this was a lot of yarn, so I'm really proud of myself for actually completing the projects and just using yarn from my stash and not really purchasing any yarn. Full disclosure, I did purchase some yarn for a project I wanted to make for someone as a Christmas gift. I did not crochet that project yet, but I'm still going to do it. Most of these projects are gifts that I was making for people that I knew I would not see into the month of January, so I knew I had the entire month of December for some of the projects in order to get them done. So I do have some of the projects here to show y'all, and some I do not because they have already been gifted, given away, some even used. Okay, so let's just get started on all the projects that I've crocheted and the amount of yarn that I've used. So I'm going to start with the project that consumed the most amount of yarn. I no longer have that project because I did gift it on Christmas to the person that I made it for, and it burned through so much yarn. So all this yarn was used for one project. Now this is a chunky yarn. Oh wait, this is the wrong skeins for that. Sorry. These don't go to that. These. Okay, here we go. So I did make a hand knitted blanket for my son-in-law because I had made one for my daughter and he liked it, and he was like, oh, I would really like a blanket like that. And I was like, perfect, because I still have plenty of that yarn left. I did show in a previous video a while back this big old bag that I had full of this yarn. I had so many skeins of this yarn. As a matter of fact, I still do have 9 skeins of this yarn left, and I'm going to figure out what to use that yarn for. So this is a bulky number 7 yarn. It is Premier Couture Jazz yarn. I do believe that this yarn is discontinued, and that's how I ended up with so much of it, because I had purchased some of this yarn for my daughter for Christmas years back because she wanted to make herself a hand knitted blanket, and she didn't do it. She didn't enjoy the process, so I had told her, well, I would make the blanket for you. And then I kept seeing the yarn go on sale cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, so I was getting the skeins for sometimes like $3 a skein, I think all the way down to $1 a skein. And every time I saw it, I just purchased it in the 2 colors that I currently had. So I did have it in the color beige. So I had this yarn in the color beige and in the color... Okay, so I had 2 colors. I had beige and I had milk. So I had 2 colorways, and I will include a picture of the blanket, of the completed blanket. Folded, I can see if I can get a picture of the blanket unfolded, because I did not take any video or picture of the blanket open. I folded it up, tied it up in a ribbon, and that's how I took the picture. But I used a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So I used a total of 22 skeins to make that hand knitted blanket. And yes, it's really nice. It's really long, so he can cover his whole body with the blanket from feet to shoulders, definitely, because the blanket, I'm 5'5", and the blanket was taller than me. So that is the project that took up the most yarn, was that hand knitted blanket. I just did it in blocks, like a block of beige, a block of white, a block of beige, block of white, and I ended it in beige. But yeah, so that is what I made with this Premier Couture jazz yarn, a bulky number 7 yarn. And yeah, so that is what I made with all this yarn. And that is a project that used up the majority of the yarn that I crocheted, that I used up in the month of December. Okay, so the next two projects that I made, I'm not showing you these projects in the order that I made them. I'm showing you in the order of the size of the project, I guess. So the next two projects I made were also crocheted blankets. I actually crocheted these blankets. So I have made this blanket here for my younger sister. And I was trying to make this blanket 6 feet, but I don't think I made it 6 feet. I think it's about 5.5 feet tall, and it's for my sister. And I used how many skeins? I actually used 3 full skeins of the Bitty Stripe yarn. So I don't know which one this is, but I used the Red Heart Bitty Stripe yarn for the beige and the brown. So that's what it looks like, the Bitty Stripes, if you're interested in that yarn. That's what it looks like when you work it up. It literally makes like a variegated stripe kind of look. Yeah, and so I had 4 skeins of the Bitty Stripe yarn, but I only used 3. I'm only counting skeins that I've used the full entire skein of. Now I did use a portion of the 4th skein, and this is how much I have left. So in my stash bust and count, I did not count skeins that I did not fully complete. I only included skeins that I used the entire skein of. So I do have this much of this skein left from this blanket and this much of the yellow. So I started out with 4 skeins of this Bitty Stripe yarn in the colorway rattan, and then I used a full skein of a yellow yarn. This is the yarn that I had left over from this blanket. I did not count these labels. As you can see, they're still in here. But I did use a total of 3 skeins of the Bitty Stripe yarn, and then I did use this full skein of this Barnett Premier yarn in the colorway Gold. I used that full skein of that. I did run out of that yarn, and I did not have this 2 skeins of this yarn, so I just went for a different yellow yarn, and I didn't finish that whole skein, so I didn't count that. So in this blanket here, and it is folded, I did use 3 skeins of the Bitty Stripe yarn, 1 skein of the Premier yarn, so I used 4 full skeins, and then I used almost 2 other skeins, but I didn't completely use those. So this, if you actually count it up, might have taken up 5 full skeins of yarn in order to complete, but I used definitely 4 full skeins of yarn with a little bit of yarn left over. So I'm just going to sit that there. And then my older sister was like, oh, I want a blanket. She didn't see this blanket. She did see me talking about making a blanket, and then she was like, I want a blanket. My older sister, however, does crochet. So when she said she wanted a blanket, I'm like, oh, wow, you would want a blanket from me? You can crochet yourself. She was like, yes, I would love a blanket. So had to make it for my older sister as well because she wants a blanket. So give me a reason to crochet, any reason, and I'll do it now. But so I made this one here for my older sister. And I made this blanket also using the Bitty Stripe yarn. So I made this blanket also using the Bitty Stripe yarn in blue. So if you're interested in how it looks worked up in the blue color, then this is what it looks like, the Bitty Stripes with the granny stitch. Basically, this one is in the colorway Horizon. So I once again have 4 skeins. I did break into this skein but did not use as much of this skein as the other one. So I have almost a full skein of this blue Bitty Stripe yarn left. And I did use 2 skeins of blue yarn. What yarn was that? Let me see if I can remember. Yeah, so I used 3 skeins of this bitty stripe yarn in the colorway Horizon, and then I just used this red heart. Oh no, this is the bitty stripe. Oh, this is the bitty stripe yarn in the colorway Horizon, and then I used just this red heart super saver yarn in the colorway Royal. Okay, had a call, so I forgot where I was. But anywho, I made this blanket here for my oldest sister. I love how this blue worked out, but it could also be that my favorite color is blue, and that's why I just absolutely love the colorway of this blanket. But let's see, can you see the royal? Like, it's almost hard to see, but I like that. So that is the royal, and then the bitty stripes, and that is how this colorway of the bitty stripes work out. So those were the biggest projects that I made, basically. So I made 3 blankets in total. One was hand knitted. Even though I'll be watching these videos of everyone making these hand knitted blankets, and they says, "Oh, I made this blanket in 3 hours, 4 hours." I did use a different yarn though. The yarn I used wasn't as like tubular and wasn't as thick. I do plan on purchasing some of that yarn to make someone a blanket because they asked for a blanket. But so this yarn was a little thinner, but it was still pretty, to me, it was still pretty thick. But it took me more than 3 hours. It took me maybe 6, 7 hours, 8 hours even to make that blanket. I had to break that blanket up in 2 days in order to make it, but still pretty fast compared to these crochet blankets. So those are 3 projects, the 3 largest projects I made. I made the hair knitted blanket, and then these 2 crocheted blanket. The next project another project I worked on was a green sweater. I will include a picture of it because obviously I don't have it, because I gave it to my granddaughter while she was in school. She needed a sweater for Ugly Sweater Day. And the sweater wasn't ugly. It was really cute if you ask me. And it had little like scallops on the sleeves, because that's how she wanted her sleeves. She wanted scallops on the sleeve. But it was a really cute sweater. So I crocheted a green sweater using just that classic one value yarn from the Dollar Tree. So the skein, it's like that $5 skein, regular, oh goodness, regular worsted weight 4 yarn. And I did end up using the entire skein to make that sweater. So I played yarn chicken and I won, and I was really glad that I did. Although I feel like the sleeves could have been a little bit longer, and then I would have lost yarn chicken. And also if she would have wanted ribbon on her sleeves, I would have lost yarn chicken. But I had a second one of these in the colorway green. What color is this actually? Yep, just green pea. So like I said, I'll include a picture of the sweater, and I crocheted the sweater, and my daughter embroidered the word Merry Christmas on it, and then I kind of just stitched on some snowflakes. So that was the sweater she wore to school on the last day of school that they had before the break for her Ugly Sweater Day. So I used just one skein. Even though this was a pretty large skein, this was a 16-ounce ball. It's a 16-ounce ball, 867 yards. So that was quite a bit of yarn. So I made that. I made this scarf here. And to go with this scarf, oh, I got an end. You always got to find an end. Dang. But I made this ear warmer to go with this scarf for my goddaughter. And look, there go another end. Oh, you know what? I did weave in the ends, but I didn't clip off the extras. I forgot. So I got to do that. But I made this scarf and this ear warmer, just not single, half double crochets, back loop only to make this ribbed look. And I used quite a bit of yarn for this too. this. Yeah, one. Let's see. One, two. I actually have some of this yarn left too. So I'm going to make myself an ear warmer. Okay, so I made this ear warmer and this scarf. I wanted to make it pretty wide, so I wanted a nice chunky thick scarf. So I made that scarf and this matching ear warmer for my goddaughter. So I will be seeing them soon, but I have to make that bag before I can deliver this stuff because then one of my nieces won't have a gift. And I ripped this label, but I used a total of 4 skeins of yarn to make this scarf and this ear warmer. So I really like this. I think this is a really cute, it's so like soft and cushiony feeling. So I made that with that yarn. Then I also made, so my projects are now getting smaller that I made, but still part of the process. All right, so I made a hat and scarf, right, for my nephew. So I made this scarf. I did not use all of the gray yarn, so we have the gray skein still left. So I got the label there. I did not count that label in my my stitch count and my label count for the gray, but I made a black and gray hat and scarf. I do not have the hat right now because I left it at my daughter's. We were trying to figure out where this hat was, and I'm glad that we located it. But yeah, I left it at my daughter's, so I don't have the hat, but I used this here Craft Smart Value yarn in the colorway black. I just used the entire skein for the hat and the scarf. And what is the gray color? Let's see. I'm going to put that down there. So I don't have the hat to show y'all, but the hat is basically pretty much the same. It's just a basic beanie, and then I put 3 rows of the gray and then ended it with a single crochet like trim. Couple of rows of single crochet to close it out. And then the gray color is what yarn? The gray is this impeccable yarn. I had started a different hat and I didn't like how it was coming out with the gray, which is why I changed it to black. But I just used this impeccable yarn here. Didn't use the whole skein. And this one is in the colorway True Gray. Basically just True Gray. So I have that. I have this beige yarn attached to it because this is just a little floppy piece of yarn. This was the beige yarn that I thought I was going to use with the other blanket, but I ended up not using it at all. But I did use some of this yarn for a project. Because I could not locate the hat that I made to go with that scarf, I said I was just going to make another hat and scarf set. I did not use any full skeins for these. Yeah, I did not use any full skeins to make this hat and scarf. I am including it in the projects that I made in December, but not in my stash busting count because I still have this much of the blue yarn left and this much of the white. This is just Red Heart Super Saver yarn, and this one is just in the colorway white. And then we just have this Premier Basic yarn, and this one is in the colorway Azure. So I didn't count this in my yarn busting count because I still have yarn left, but let me show you the hat and scarf set because it's so cute. So once again, just made a basic beanie. Yeah, so I just made this basic beanie and yarn ends, of course, and I just ended it with the white because I didn't want a lot of white in it, but I made a scarf with his name in it, and I just ended with these little tassels here. These are literally just the ends of the yarn. I did not add these tassels. Tassels, whatever you would call these are not tassels, but this fringe. I didn't add this fringe. I just ended up tying the ends of each row because it is just a continuous row. So I got a row of single crochets in the blue and a row of single crochets in the white, and then I just left some yarn out on the end to make little fringe, and it has his name in it. So yeah, so that is the hat and scarf that I decided to replace, and this one is much bigger because I did not have that much yarn to really finish that. So yeah, so I made this hat and scarf for my nephew, and then I just have two more hats and scarves, and then like I said, the projects are getting smaller. So I made this scarf here that I added this gemstone yarn to. So this is two different yarns. So this is, the bottom of it is this gemstone yarn, and then the top of this here is this Premier Serenity yarn. This is a chunky yarn, so this is a weight 5 yarn, and this one is in the colorway, I don't know, is it just Aaron? I don't know, but it took 3 skeins. Oh, I'm missing a label. Uh-oh. Because I had 3 skeins of this yarn, and I used all 3 skeins. So I don't know where the other label is. So that's an extra label. But I made a cat ear beanie and the scarf for my niece. And then I trimmed the hat also in that gemstone yarn. So I made this cat ear beanie and this hat. And I know I used all 3 skeins because I made the scarf as long as I could make it before I ran out of yarn. And that's why I decided to trim it in this yarn here, because I really felt like it actually matched pretty well with all the speckles that are in the yarn. Oh, I have a stitch marker here. No, for no reason other than trying to keep up with the stitch marker, but that's not marking anything. But I made this cat ear beanie and this scarf for my niece. And I have one more hat and scarf set here. So I made this cat ear beanie. This one also has a little fold. So I made this cat ear beanie for my niece. And then this scarf here. And this scarf is a pretty long scarf because I want to say 6 skeins of this gemstone yarn, and it was quite a bit of yarn. Like, it said that it is a weight 5 yarn, but it really wasn't. It was more like a weight 3. Oh, I dropped that. So let's see. It was a 7-ounce skein. How many ounces was this skein of yarn? And these ones was only 3.5 ounces, but these were 7-ounce skeins. And I want to say I had a total of 3. I still have this much of this one left. Once again, I used some of this yarn, but I didn't count it in my label count because I still have some of it left. But I want to say I took 2 skeins of yarn for the hat, the scarf, and add into the other hat and scarf that I have back there. So yeah, this scarf is pretty long. Yeah, so, and I really like the colorway in this yarn here. So I have that. I made 2 other projects. They were those little eyeglass holders. That one looks like a teddy bear, one's supposed to look like a cat. I actually did not do the face on the cat. So is it completed? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I also don't have those because I gave those to my granddaughter. But I will include a picture of at least the teddy bear one because I don't think I have a picture of the cat one. But I made 2 little eyeglass holders for my granddaughter. So I made one that looked like a teddy bear and one that looked like a cat. I made the cat in a white yarn, which I don't have here with me. It was a chunky white yarn. But I did not finish that entire skein, so I'm not including that in my stash busting count. And then the teddy bear skein, the teddy bear eyeglass thing, I just made doubling up this here. I'm sure this is a Super Saver yarn, possibly. I don't know for certain. As you can see, it has no label, and it is just a floppy yarn that I use for something and I was going to use for the yellow and brown blanket, but ended up not using it. I wanted to use it originally on the border, and I didn't use it for the border. I ended up just using the Betty stripe yarn and the yellow yarn to do the border, but I did use this yarn and make that eyeglass holder. Okay, so that's it. That is all the projects that I made in the month of December. I have never made that many projects in one month before. So I'm very, very proud of myself for getting the projects done that I wanted done. I had originally said that I was going to crochet some soap sacks. I did not make not one soap sack. I'm okay with that because that was just something I was thinking I would do and give away, but I didn't make them. That's neither here nor there. I don't think I will make them either. Side note, because I came across this. This was the rest of the black yarn. I wanted to put the little fringe down at the bottom of the scarf. I did cut the black pieces, and I was going to cut some of the gray yarn and make the fringe. And then when I realized I couldn't find the hat and went on to another hat, I didn't add the fringe. But now that I know where the hat is, I will probably add this fringe and cut up some of that extra gray yarn to make the fringe to complete this project. Now, that was just a quick side note. Back to what I was originally saying. I did want to make one more project in December. I didn't get to it. I did not own the yarn to make this project, so I had to purchase it and then didn't get around to making it. But I do want to show y'all the yarn. This is a yarn that I purchased. I just ordered this off of Amazon. I do not think that it has a name or a brand or whatever. I knew I needed t-shirt yarn. I just went on Amazon to try to find some yarn, and this is what I came across. I had asked my daughter what color do she think I should make it in for my niece, and she said that she thinks my niece would like a green bag, so I ordered this yarn. And this is going to be the next project that I actually work on because I want to get this done because it was supposed to be a Christmas gift, and I didn't get to it. I am heading back to my daughter's. I'm helping my daughter out because she had to have surgery. So I've been trying to spend as much time down there helping her with the kids in the house and all of that. I did think I was going to get to drop these gifts off before I went to my daughter's, but since I did not make the bag, because I don't think I told y'all what I want to make. I can't think of what the name of the bag is, but I will include a picture of the bag. It's a bag from Loose Ends. I don't know what the name of the bag is called though. I don't know, but it was a pattern that it was a paid for pattern, and I purchased the pattern and I purchased this yarn. So I'm hoping that this yarn will work well for this bag that I want to make. When I come back from spending time with them, with my daughter and son-in-law and grandkids, I will hopefully have this bag made. Yeah, so that is what I did. This is the next project I'm going to work on. I have also decided to join in on a crochet along for a mosaic bookshelf Christmas blanket. I do plan on changing mine though. I don't want a Christmas blanket, but I want to make that blanket, and it's a year-long crochet along, so I think I could get that blanket done. But yes, guys, so that is everything that I've made, all the yarn that I use, some of the projects that I have decided that I want to start working on. And yeah, so if you want to see those projects, while I'm working on them, then hit that subscribe button, stick around so you can see everything that I have going on, and I will talk to y'all in the next video. Okay, bye.